How's it going, everyone? It's General Tyrell, your coach of the Joliet Lycanrocs, bringing you the APA Season 6, Week 3 team build versus Coach Sarbear and the Joliet Lycanrocs. Coming into Week 3, we are 0-2, being very unlucky, and honestly, it's somewhat deserved. I was really upset from the last battle, if you could tell by the end, but I just played not to my best at the end. Of course, the roll was somewhat hacks, but that's what comes to Pokemon with Excadrill and Rock Slide. But with Mega Pinsir, I should have taken the risk of that quick attack being a kill, because I was stupid saying Mega Pinsir could sweep at the end. He wouldn't have let me set up again, because if I came back on the rocks like I did later on, I did not have enough health to set up like at any point. So I just want to point out that mistake, and then we're going to get right into this week. We're facing Coach Sarbear. She's a decent battler. She dropped not even mid-season, not that far into Season 5, last season of the APA. And she came back, become the Joliet Lycanrocs. And she's doing alright so far. Almost 0-2. She is 1-1 though, because her first week she had a Jirachi clutch when Jirachi had very low health but managed to Iron Head flinch its way out and win the battle for her. So solid 1-1 for Sarbear, and hopefully we can take down her rain team, as you can see here. So her draft consists of her totem Pokemon Seaking, her Mega Sceptile. You got Jirachi, Thundurus, Incarnate, Pelipper, Kingdra, Ditto, Beware, Aromatisse, Quagsire, Jinx, and Castform. And going into her team, when I was team building for her, it was easy because I knew she needed to be able to counter my possible sand with her rain. But knowing for a fact that Jirachi is very important to her by the looks of it, I'm seeing a defensive Jirachi this week instead of a possible Scarf Iron Head flincher, because she needs a defensive Jirachi in order to take on Kieran Black as much as possible. The most I can do to it is a special attack invested Earth Power, which she can either run, she can run Shuck Bear if she wants, but I just have down leftovers, so that way she can cripple it with a Thunder Wave and then Iron Head it from there on out. Also gives her access to Stealth Rocks, which affects my threats like Kieran Black, Chandelure, and Mega Pinsir. And I threw Drain Punch on there just for a form of recovery, and that's also to take on any possible Excadrill switch in if I think I can get a spin off on it. And Jirachi just gets more health, and it continuously comes in on Kieran Black, and there's no problem with her. So that's why I have it as a more defensive Jirachi instead of a Scarf Flinch Hacks Jirachi. The defense investments aren't specific to anything. I just felt like she would also need some defense in order to take on like my Excadrill, in order for it to not to completely one-hit her or something like that. So that's all for Jirachi mainly. And this was the main threat here when I looked at her team, was Ditto. It doesn't seem like it's that dangerous, but the fact is, with all the wall breakers I have on my team, I can't handle them myself. So if Ditto comes in on stuff, that's actually a problem. So this is the only reason I'm not looking forward to this week. If she didn't have this thing, I would be so confident and I wouldn't have that much problem. But this stops me from setting up with Mega Pinsir. I can't even bring in Mega Pinsir because none of my defenses can really handle it that well. I can't set up a substitute, that way Ditto can't get past it, but there's still stuff to go around that, because I might not be able to get up substitutes or anything of the sort. So Ditto is definitely a threat because I can't handle my major offenses on my team with my defensive core. So I had to make sure to work around that this week. And next up I have a defensive Quagsire, and I have this for in case of I do get set up on my side of the field and she either has Ditto out and Jirachi's too low. Quagsire is just also a good answer to Excadrill, Mega Pinsir. Even can take on Kieran Black decently. It's mainly there to just possibly get a Toxic off or do some damage to it. But I have it with Scald, so for the water stab and possibly getting a burn on my physical attacking threats. Recover, of course, for health regen. Toxic in order to take on any possible answers or switch-ins she thinks about to happen. And Earth Power just for some other coverage. to do slightly more damage to save my Lodic. I don't know. It's just for general coverage on my team, and Quagsire doesn't really have that wide of a move pool, so. Quagsire can do decently against my offensive threats. I just felt like it was a possible option because she needs more defenses than just a special defensive Jirachi, which kind of makes sense. She could have an option of running another offensive threat instead of Quagsire, but I just seen Underwear Quagsire helping in case of, set up later on when Ditto's gone because of a misplay with Ditto. So Quagsire is a safe bet for her. And then moving on, I have Pelipper. The rain setter, of course, to counter my sand if I were to bring it. Even if she doesn't want to bring a possible rain synergy team, then she still needs to bring Pelipper in order to counter my sand, because an Exegil can sweep to her team easy. I mean, of course, if Ditto gets in, Ditto's Scarf. That was another thing about Ditto I just want to throw out. Ditto can also be Life Orb, not Scarf. I have Scarf down just because it 100% outspeeds the Pokemon it copies, but the Scarf is just a safer bet. The Life Orb can do it, so if she does get Kyurem Black or Excadrill, she can do a lot more damage to my team, but she is risking a speed tie. Going back to Pelipper, I have a Scarf set since an offensive one can do decent to me, and she doesn't necessarily need a defensive Pelipper. She could run one because it can somewhat take on Mega Pinsir and Excadrill very well. So if she ran a defensive one, it would just have like Scald Roost, Hurricane still, and that sort of stuff. But I see a Scarf one being more beneficial because an offensive Pelipper can still do damage to my team. It's got that U-turn for momentum. Hurricane and Hydro Pump just do a work, just a number to my team. I just threw Roost in there. Pelipper doesn't have that amazing a move pool. Ice Beam won't benefit it at all this battle or anything of the sort, so I put Roost if she wants to come in and get health and then switch back out so she has rain for a longer time later on in the battle. And to synergize with Pelipper, I have the Swift Swim Kingdra with Choice Specs. This thing is a monster and it can hit really hard. I have a counter in my Lodic, of course, to handle this on, only because it can handle a Draco Meteor and then it's forced to switch. But then he brings out a threat when I'm forced to recover with my Lodic, and then that just causes a lot of momentum that's still in her favor no matter what. I see a specially offensive Choice Specs over a offensive Kingdra, because if she were to bring like a Dragon set Kingdra, I could have Haze on my Lodic, or it just gets walled by Chestnut if it's a offensive variant. Unless it sets up a lot of Dragon Dances, and Outrages can't take on a defensive Chestnut very well. Draco Meteor just hits my team very hard once again, except for my Lodic, or if I go complete all-out special defense on a Pokemon. It takes out Kyurem Black, of course, just a great overall stab move. Hydro Pump gets boosted in the rain, amazing 110 base special attack already. And with the stab, it just does so much damage. Does more than Draco. She doesn't want to risk like me having a possible resist or say Togetic in the back to take on a possible Draco Meteor. She can go for Hydro Pump that way that she takes on Togetic very well still because of the boost in the rain. And I just threw Dragon Pulse and Scald. Honestly, Kingdra does not need any other moves besides Draco Meteor and Hydro Pump. It just does so much work to a team with already that. She can throw on a random Hidden Power if she wants, like say Hidden Power Flying to take on Chestnut, or Hidden Power Rock for a Mega Pinsir, even though that's not really needed because Hydro Pump and Rain can still take on the Mega Pinsir. A Draco can probably bop Chestnut unless it's like really special defense invested, but it could still bring Ice Beam just for that Chestnut and something of the sort. But I just threw random moves on there because ice coverage isn't going to do much against my team. Once again, it's just the Chestnut. And lastly, I have a special offensive Mega Sceptile. Now, this does put a lot of special attackers on our team, considering Ditto can either be whatever, and Jirachi's only the physical, really. And then Quagsire, Pelipper, Kingdra, and Mega Sceptile are all special offensive. But the fact is, Mega Sceptile does really good special offensively against my team. That Leaf Storm just does massive amount of damage that not many Pokemon on my team can really handle. And then the Dragon Pulse is just great stab, and this speed right here can just easily take on Excadrill. It can't really take on Mega Pinsir because I have the possible quick attack, but it comes in. A physical Sceptile can do a decent amount of damage, but a special one with that Leaf Storm and the higher base 145 special attack is just so much more threatening, even though a possible Swords Dance Mega Sceptile could be a possibility, and that could be a problem, but a defensive Chestnut can take on a Mega Sceptile very easily, so I'm not really worried about that. I have Leaf Storm and Giga Drain for stab. Leaf Storm, of course, just to destroy walls. Giga Drain in order to get health back so it can stay in. Dragon Pulse for the stab, also to take on the Kyurem, and I have Focus Blast in order to take on, say, Excadrill, Exploud, or anything of the sort. So, once again, for my part of the team build, it was hard to work around that Ditto, and I had to bring some interesting sets. So, first off, not in regards to Ditto, I just did what did best against their team, which I noticed was, of course, Raichu having that electric stab against her water-based team. We got Thunderbolt for stab, Hidden Power Ice, Grass Knot, and Agility. I'm running that Lightning Rod in case we take on that Thundurus on her team, which is a possible switch in for, say, this Mega Sceptile, or if she didn't want the defensive Quagsire, because Thundurus can do a decent amount to my team as well. But that way, if Thundurus tries to use an electric type move, we come in on it, we get a 1.5 times special attack. This will also be used if I predict the Thunder Wave on Jirachi, and we can freely come in on Jirachi and hit it pretty well, considering Jirachi cannot do much against us with Iron Head. 1 will outspeed it unless it's Scarf, so we have less chance of flinch hacks. 2, we can get Thunderbolts on it easily without any worries of it hitting us pretty hard. Drain Punch will do a decent amount, but it won't have any attack investments, so it won't do that much. But if it is special defensive, then our Thunderbolt won't do that much either. So we're kind of looking for a reduce in both Jirachi and anything that can, if we don't get the agility off on Raichu, because then we can't take on the Mega Sceptile, because Mega Sceptile will one-hit Raichu like it's nothing. But the agility makes it so we can outspeed the Thundurus and the Mega Sceptile. Mega Sceptile, we hit it with Hidden Power Ice, the thing is 100% dead. Grass Knots for that Quagsire in case she doesn't think I don't have the coverage for it, because it's the ground type for the immunity for the electric types to take on her rain team. And then of course Thunderbolt for stab. This thing does do really well. It is possible that she brings a somewhat specially defensive Aromatisse in fear of Kyurem as well. Raichu couldn't take on couldn't take on Aromatisse if it's especially defensive, so it would have to weaken that and Jirachi in order for Raichu to do some sort of sweeping later on in the game, or at least some cleanup damage to weaken her team. And then moving on, I needed the counter to her rain. I have a Sandstream Gigalith Sackstone. Bringing it again this week. We do not have a Sand Abuser with Excadrill this week, because once again, if she picked up Excadrill with that Ditto, I would be in a tough spot. Also, she can just easily come in with Pelipper and counter the rain, and Excadrill is just about pointless, because then Kingdra comes in for free the following turn, and then that does damage to my team. So it would be more hurt to me than possible sweeping potential on her side. I bring in that Stealth Rock. She does not have good Stealth Rock removal on her team. That she does lack. So I'm going to get those up turn 1, because even if she brings in Pelipper turn 1, it's perfectly fine. I'm going to be slower than Pelipper, so my Sand's going to set up after her rain, so we counter it. Especially defensive Gigalith in Sand does take on pretty well her special offensive threats, even if they do have like some Water Stab and such. Of course, we don't take on Mega Sceptile too well, but that's okay. I have Stealth Rock to get up my rocks, Earthquake to take on Jirachi, even though Iron Head will still do a decent amount to us, and I do have a high chance of flinch hacks, since I am slower than Jirachi. I have Explosion for any possible setup. If I keep Gigalith in the back, I do not get one-shot by anything, unless it's, say, a setup sweep Swords Dance Mega Sceptile with Earthquake or Leaf Blade, then that will be a problem, but any special offensive move she goes for does not one-shot me. So if I feel like it's a major threat that I can't really handle, I can bring in Gigalith and go for the Explosion. That normal gem basically makes it so everything on her team dies to one explosion, and then I don't have to worry about them anymore. And then I have Rock Slide in case I have to take on the Pelipper and just general stab. Once again, I don't like running Stone Edge, even though the damage, of course, didn't kill last week with Rock Slide. I just don't like missing. because I'm already going into this game facing a Jirachi. I don't want like more odds to go against me here. Next up, I have Boozer and Assault Vest. A special defensive Chestnut does really well. I was so close to bringing an AV Intimidate Arbok for this match, but Chestnut just does better against her team. I really wanted to use Arbok because I want to use gimmicks this week, considering my luck hasn't considerably worked out when I tried really hard, but Chestnut can still do damage to her team, and it's the obvious answer. Of course, this should be bulletproof over Overgrow. I have Drain Punch to get my health back and good overall coverage on her team. Seed Bomb for stab and to take on her multiple water types. I have Stone Edge to take on the Pelipper and the Thunderous. Thunderous Eye cannot do anything the Chestnut. HP Ice doesn't even do above 30 to this Assault Vest variant. I have Dragon Claw to take on the Kingdra, which max does 50% with a Draco Meteor if it is modest specs. And Dragon Claw does decent coverage to it, and the Draco Meteor would make it so she can't kill me the following turn if I'm at max HP. So that way it threatens her out easy. And I can go for Drain Punch the following turn to get more health, or make it double, predicting what she's going to go into. So Chestnut's a good special defensive answer to most of her team. And Chestnut also takes on the Sceptile no matter what. If it's special offensive Sceptile, then Chestnut still handles it because of the Assault Vest, and we have that Dragon Claw to take it on easy. And if it's like Swords Dance setup, Chestnut already has natural defensive bulk to take on the Mega Sceptile. I was hoping Chestnut had Ice Punch, but of course it doesn't. Most Pokemon, they don't have the Elemental Punch moves if they're weak to it, so that kind of makes sense. But Chestnut can still do damage with this moveset, and also it's going to be a good pivot for my team. We got Kyurem Black here. Not a offensive variant, because once again, I would not be able to handle it. I still have some offense investment with special attack, but I'm going to go over that. So I have Substitute. This is mainly in order to 1, stall our team, and 2, take on the Ditto, because Ditto can't copy Kyurem Black if I'm behind sub. I have Bulk invested with Substitute for Kyurem Black, just to take on any stall she has on her team. I can take on the Aromatisse and just Toxic stall it. If I can predict it going for a Heal Bell one turn, I can go for an Ice Beam, and so on. I have the Roost just so I can stay behind subs. Once again, I get off that Toxic, then I sub, then I can Roost, and then I can sub again. And it's going to be a nuisance to her team, but it can do like small damage over time in order for me to have, like, say, Raichu clean up at the end. And it's going to be very important. So considering though I only have Ice Beam and Toxic, I cannot take on the Jirachi. That is why I definitely need to weaken it with other parts of my team. Jirachi is just going to be kind of a pain this game no matter what. And this is mainly if she does have, like, say, that Quagsire. I absolutely wall Quagsire no matter what with this Toxic stall. And then the Ice Beam, just even though it's a rain team, it does well. I didn't want to bring just Fusion Bolt, mainly because, I mean, there was a chance that if I brought the Fusion Bolt and stuff, I could, you know, switch into Raichu, and then I get the Lightning Rod, and then I can get that special attack boost along with my, like, following agility. But I just didn't want to risk it because an offensive Fusion Bolt can still do some stuff to my team. Also, once again, if she's not Scarf, then she can pass the Toxic and stuff on my team easy. When I can go into my Lodic when it's just this Kyurem Black, and my Lodic can take this on very easily, which I'll go over in a second. Because also, if we get Toxic, we get that defensive boost, which can still help us against our team. It will be a pain over time, but with that Marvel scale, we take on stuff easily, as like we did with Cloud when we were paralyzed. But of course, we won't get any Parahacks hopefully this game. But I needed some water. And next up we have Exploud, Caps Lock. He's making a return this week. Once again, no ghost types, so we're just running soundproof. We got that modest specs again. I'm not worried about Ditto coming in and copying this thing, because once again we just bring in Zack Stone, the Gigalith, and it 100% takes on any move Exploud wants to go for here. Also, she thinks Shadow Ball is the best coverage to take on my team in case I want the Gigalith to come in, then I go into my chestnut, and then we get the bulletproof. But once again, I just need to really check if that Ditto is like a form of a life orb or if it's Scarf. Scarf is most likely, but like a life orb just can do multiple damage to my team, which is kind of dangerous. We have that Boom Burst. It just hits their team pretty hard. A special defensive Jirachi can of course take it on. That's why I have the Shadow Ball and the Fire Blast. Fire Blast is of course to take it on if rain is not up. It also just does damage against a fluffy Beware on her team, which could be a problem. Because of course Beware is very bulky, and it's nice attack can really handle my team with its ability Fluffy. Its defense is raised 1.5 or 2 times, I think it's 1.5, but it can absolutely wall the team, but it is basically super effective, weak to Fire Blast or Fire type coverage, so that's why I put that on X-Cloud. And so X-Cloud can do a decent amount to her team, and that's why I'm bringing it this week. I didn't want to bring anything like Exadrill or Mega Pinsir that can do damage but cannot it'd be a problem once again if Ditto copies it. Chandelure doesn't do anything against a rain team, of course. I would just have to click Shadow Ball again, even though they can do damage over time, but I'm always forced to switch, and then my team just gets weakened by the rain, or Kingdra can get a free switch in or something of the sort, and it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work out. And then lastly, I needed a main good answer for that Jirachi, and just a good overall answer to most of her water types, which of course is Milotic, the beautiful Katara. I got the leftovers for recovery, of course, Marvel Scale, of course, in case we get statused. We'll benefit from that. I got Scald, it's going to be boosted in the rain, good overall stab. Can get burns on our team. I have Hidden Power Electric in order to punish the Pelipper if it wants to try and come in and reset rain. It also just takes on some other water types on our team that I normally cannot hit. I can't do that much to Quagsire, unfortunately, but Quagsire is basically only going to go for a Toxic if that happens, so I'll risk another Pokemon on my team taking the Toxic, or just let my Milotic take it and then switch afterwards. But I just didn't want to run Hidden Power Grass when Hidden Power Electric can like for sure kill the Pelipper, which would be a nuisance to the team. I have Ice Beam for coverage for, of course, the Mega Sceptile, even though Mega Sceptile Leaf Storm does one-shot Milotic 100%. With this investment, I did not want to run any special defense bulk though, because I just want to be able to take on Jirachi 100% with this thing and threaten it out. Because Jirachi, once it's weakened, the rest of my team it's pretty much safe to slowly take apart the rest of her team. And then I have recovery, of course, to get health more later on. I was considering Haze this week as a possible setup with the Mega Sceptile, like I said before. And I was also considering the Magic Coat in order to eat any possible hits, but like that Mega Sceptile, it will one-shot me, so I don't think it really even matters this game for the rest of her Pokemon. Because once again, if she has like the Thunderous Thunderbolt, I don't need to risk my Milotic getting low on health just for a Magic Coat. I can just go into my Chestnut that walls it, my Gigalith that walls it with the Sand Up, or my Raichu that gets that +1 off of it. So it made sense for me to run it this week like this. I might run Hidden Power Grass before the battle. I might switch that instead of Hidden Power Electric. I'm still debating on it, but right now Hidden Power Electric still seems like an alright idea. Milotic getting status would somewhat be ideal. That way we have a better answer to Beware if she brings it. But of course, if she doesn't bring Beware, then I'm hoping for no status, because she doesn't have that many physical attackers on her team. Once again, unless it's a setup Sceptile, or if it's that Beware, or if it's Swift Swim Seaking, which we all know is very scary. But this week I feel like we can take her on still very well. Her Rain's an interesting team. First team you'll ever see draft cast form. I'm not looking just to facing Jirachi just because I've already been unlucky this season so far. And Jirachi being the king of hacks, not looking forward to it. But that Ditto was very hard to work around, so hopefully we can manage to get an interesting win this week. Forgot to mention, we're also going to be the featured match for the APA, so that will go up on the APA channel or Coach Dan's channel, either one, I don't remember. So that'll be interesting for them to see some of these sets I'm going to bring. And that'll be it for me, guys. I'll see you. The battle will come up the following day. Hopefully we can get our first win of this season. That'll be it. Deuces.